and welcome back to the Huge Boob Corner. I am your host, Peter McLean, and I just want to say thank you to everybody who keeps supporting the show. And if you want to keep supporting the show, please like, share, and subscribe because it really helps. Now, today, I am extremely excited because I probably have one of the most popular and most incredible huge bust models working today. And I'm happy that she was able to make it because, you know, it's can be a crazy time. So could you please welcome the incredibly gorgeous Korina Kova?
Oh, you amped me up so good.
I try to lift you up.
Oh, I feel lifted.
Thank you very much. Well, with those boobs, I'm sure that can be a task sometimes.
It's a heavy job.
Yeah. So, well, again, welcome. I know that it was, you had a long, but you had a pretty good travel.
Yeah,
which was nice.
I had a smooth trip, and I can now look at the positives and relax and enjoy my trip.
Well, I'm glad that I get you before AVN because you have the energy now.
That was one thing that factored into things when we discussed this before. I was like, I want to hit it when we can. When you're at your brightest eyes and bushiest tails. Exactly, not all puffy and
not
worn
like
out.
I just want to go home at the end.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, and have you been to AVN before? Or is this your first time?
Well, yeah. So I think it was like 5 years ago. I did attend to sign with like other companies. And the border flagged me, so I got detained, and then I only made it for the last day. So I haven't even had the AVN experience.
The full experience. Okay.
Yeah. So this year I'm very blessed to be able to have my own booth.
Yeah.
And really show up for my fans.
Yeah, that's going to be exciting.
Yeah.
So, and did you already like start setting up, or do you start doing that tomorrow?
Yeah. So I did get like a crew. Because I traveled, I traveled alone, so I hired people to come do setup and takedown for me.
Yeah, that's better.
But I did run around this morning and do like my own pickup for printing and like posters and pop-ups. Mm-hmm. I did that errand. And
nice,
independent lady.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the episode will air after the fact, so the fans will be, whoever's going to see you is probably going to see you before.
Right.
But
yes,
I hope that you have a wonderful experience at the expo.
Thank you.
I wanted to have a booth too, but unfortunately, the finances just didn't.
Yeah, it's definitely it's a cost I only want to incur like once every 3 years. So it's a treat. So yeah.
So and I feel very fortunate and blessed that you're here.
I have been wanting to come on for a while now.
Really? Yeah.
Of course.
And we were trying to work it out.
Yeah, when you have a title like that, I feel like not to be entitled, but like, I be here?
But also, you know, when I started the show, I knew that bigger models that had significant higher followings and esteem in my mind, you know, that a small show would need to get a little bit of you know, would have to be a little more successful and legit. You know, I wanted to, because before I would approach someone of your caliber, I wanted to make sure the show was worthy of your time and to be on it, and not to try to denigrate myself. I'm just saying,
exactly. Like,
I wanted to be worth your, I want you to want to be on the show.
For sure. I appreciate that. But you have a great show, and I'm excited to be here, and thank you for having me.
Oh, it's good. I'm sure we're going to have an amazing conversation.
Yeah.
So we will jump right in because I want to say that from my perspective, you are one of the most creative and just unique creators out there.
Thank you.
With the stuff that you make. And so I really wanted to delve, quite heavily into that. So when did you start doing content creation and modeling?
Mm-hmm. I'm so bad, but like time lapses in my life, it's so hard. But like, I think that it's been about 10 years, if I hack it down, which is quite the achievement just because longevity in this industry is so hard. Mm-hmm. And so, I got into it kind of just, I wouldn't say by accident, but like it was kind of a desperate situation. But I was always in the line of work of adult industry. So I was a stripper before.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And so it just kind of was a natural progression for you. It
wasn't too natural. Like it was something I never thought I would do, and it definitely wasn't something I thought I'd do long term. Mm-hmm. But when I started doing it, it's like an addiction. It's like it's truly like rewarding, and I find it really fulfilling.
That's good.
Yeah.
And so when you started doing it, because I assume you didn't start with like the very creative scenes and stuff that you did you just do kind of basic modeling stuff in the beginning? Okay.
Yeah. So I kind of I did a lot of looking online and admiring other creators, there was this couple, and I'm so bad with names, but like they inspired me to like want to do the large productions and stuff. And they were doing it as a couple. And I was thinking, oh, I wonder if I could just do it by myself. So it was just a slow progression into like, I want more of this. And yeah, like to start off with, I was just filming on a little webcam, just showing off my body, not saying much. I was uncomfortable speaking in front of the camera. Actually, like if it wasn't for this industry, I probably would not have social media. I don't take any pictures really, like it didn't come naturally is what I'm saying. So it was kind of even when I had to do like a stripper photo shoot, I was always just like so camera shy.
Interesting.
So, yeah.
So dancing didn't bother you.
No.
It was other things that you got more shy.
Yeah, I was quite a confident dancer.
Okay.
And I think I just kind of zoned out, looked at the performance aspect of it. I was like when it comes to like hustling the floor and stuff like that, I would kind of stand back. Guys would always just come up to me.
Yeah.
I think I was blessed that way. I don't know. I just have a little sprinkle.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I just like I naturally am a little bit shy.
Okay. Well, and I mean that's not super uncommon though.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at there's a lot of, huge actors, for instance, Hollywood actors. Like I think Johnny Depp's a really shy person in real life. And, because it's different when you turn it on to perform and then you are, you turn it off to be yourself. So
I've come a long way is what I'm saying. Yeah. So it's just like it really helped me come into my own personality. Yeah. And dancing did that as well. Kind of playing a character at first and then you kind of live that role.
Yeah. Were you naturally introverted?
Yes. Very, very, yeah.
And I don't know if that completely goes away because I'm also naturally, some people might not think, but I am naturally introverted in
exactly.
certain
And you
scenarios.
think, oh, you're doing this podcast, you speak to different people all the time. He must be so outgoing.
Yeah. Well, and the funny thing is like if I were to meet somebody like you, in a not setting like this, I'd be a lot more nervous and kind of stumbling over my words. But in this situation, I'm more comfortable, which is interesting. Right.
And I love that. Like when guys show me the like kind of like stutter to come up to me and a little less confidence, I actually really like that.
Oh, so you don't like the hyper confidence?
I like both.
Oh, okay.
It depends, but I can also just like really, I can really appreciate a shy guy that comes up to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. So you started, the first time I ever saw you was in Score, which I'm sure is a lot of people.
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know how long after you started doing that did you start working with Score?
Right. Okay. Let me think back. Because I did a couple of things with them. They're kind of like one of the only companies I've worked with. Yeah. So the first shoot, they really wanted me to shoot. So they actually allowed me to use my videographer and like hire a photographer and like not travel to go do the scene. So I actually just was in Toronto and I just I did the scene myself and then sent them to edit and stuff.
Okay.
I love them as a company because they just really work with your comfort zone.
Okay.
So that was like my first experience with the company. I think that was, I was
17,
pretty
18?
fresh into things. Like, yeah. So I think I was like 3 years into the industry.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. And then so that went really well and the fan base loved me, thank gosh.
You were worried they weren't?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, like, yeah, I guess that's always a concern.
Huge Boob fans are ravenous in terms of at least we have a lot of like there are the favorites, but then there's always the excitement of new new models, which is obviously the kind of the name of the game, obviously. And so but yeah, I couldn't imagine you not being an instant sensation with that fan base.
It was great. And then so afterwards I traveled to see them and they shot me along with the side-by-side with Selena Adams, which is kind of the only other girl I've kind of been side-by-side with. And that was the second shoot. Okay. And I would hope to do an updated at this stage of my career shoot with them.
Well, I can't imagine that why they wouldn't.
It's just timing-wise, like I don't really get out to where they are that often. And I think everything once like COVID hit, they weren't really traveling back to Canada to shoot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a level of again, they also might have a lot of backlog of content that they're still trying to release. But then again, I would imagine you would be a priority. I would think.
And I really, really love them as a company. Like,
and have you been approached by other companies to shoot? Okay.
Yeah. I think it just is the whole solo thing. I mean, I think it's a great thing. But like when COVID hit, Brazzers, they got me to do my own solo scene, which is like probably the only time that I would be able to work with them.
Yeah.
Because they were offering like me to shoot my content and for them to post it. So other than that, no.
Well, and what's fascinating is because obviously it's an industry that likes to have that has levels.
Mm-hmm.
So you have your solo, you have girl, boy, girl, and then the upper echelons of that. And so usually, it's a process for a lot of models getting in, and but you've been able to stay successful with just doing the solo stuff. I
am so grateful for that because at some point I think to myself, like, when will this die off? And it doesn't. And that's where I feel blessed is the amount of support and longevity my fans show me. So like I have fans that have been with me since the very beginning. And I think that's like the most heartfelt part about it and the most rewarding is like really truly getting to know this fan group and this fan base that I have and so blessed to have.
Yeah.
So like, so longevity, I'm just feeling just like tingly. I get goosebumps when I talk about it.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Well, and that's great that they've been so supportive because but then again, I think that for you, and this is just a a theory, you can knock it down if it's wrong. But I imagine a lot of your fans prefer you doing the solo stuff and don't want you to do like boy girl stuff because then for them that might disrupt the fantasy that they have of you.
I feel like there are real fans that do and are waiting for me to take that step. But like, because sometimes I say, oh, it's just the haters that want me to take that next step because they don't truly understand why I choose to be solo. And then the fans that are just like waiting for you, like, she'll do it eventually. It's going to happen. Like, day is going to come. And it's like 10 years in, it's like, it's not here. And then they start heckling me and like, oh, you're so boring. You'll never do it. You'll never do what we're watching. And those aren't the ones I'm creating content for.
Well, and you don't need fans that are going to be like that anyway.
Yeah.
And I imagine, you probably get new fans all the time.
Yeah.
So it's like if you lose, you're going to lose some, you're going to gain some.
That's the name of the game. And I can understand that. And if you need to see that and that's all you need to see, then there's so many other creators doing it. Yeah.
The idea that one has to do it. And so I'm sure fans tried to offer you like custom money to do that kind of stuff.
Yeah, of course. But I mean, it would never
be enough.
The only situation I can like think of in my head would be kind of like possibly like an exit scene where it's just like, I do it.
It's your
and
swan
then I'm
song.
out.
Yeah, it's your swan song.
Yeah. But I don't think like that. That would be in like an alternate universe. That would be kind of, it's not like I've even had that plan. But I'm just saying if there was a lot of money involved, there has been offers. It's just,
It's not completely impossible, but it's just mostly unlikely and improbable.
Yeah.
So, and that, I'm sure that's fine. I mean, the whole point is to be able to do what you do the way you want to do it.
And to keep loving it.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you don't want to get into a situation where you're just like, this was not what I wanted.
It starts to feel like work to the point where you're like, ugh.
Yeah, and I have it so good. Like, I enjoy the interaction part. I enjoy the creation part. I mean, I enjoy the pleasure part.
Yeah.
And there's so many different aspects that are fulfilling to me. I just don't see myself jeopardizing to risk it just to try something out.
Yeah. Or to try to please
gambling. I'm not a gambler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, a good thing you don't live here.
I know.
It's good just to visit, but
yeah.
So then so do you split your time mainly when you're doing it like because you do cam work, like do you do cam or you just
No, not really anymore. I go live for my OnlyFans.
Okay.
That's once a month as like a treat. But I'm like so still focused on custom videos. So I do like 10 to 25 customs per week.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Now When you create, so those are customs for that are requested by fans.
Yeah.
So then, where are your because I assume you have your own personal creations that you like to make.
I only get to do those like twice a year.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh, I
because
thought it
I
was
don't
more
have the
than that.
time. No, all those big, like flashy videos, those are actually fan supported customs.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. And do
Yeah.
they help like I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess at this point what you make it goes into the production of it from them or do they okay. So
It's kind of like they kind of choose me because they'll have this crazy idea and I get the pleasure of bringing it like completely to life. Like I'm talking like if we're going to like and some people just won't like turn the camera on and film it and I do that as well. Like when I'm doing 10 to 15 customs, those are majority of like just a joy or just a dildo ride or just ass focused stuff or boob focused stuff. But the bigger customs that take a while to come to life, like the fan will be kind of investing for a while, and then we'd like talk wardrobe, we talk role play.
So you actually there's more collaboration with the fan. It's not just this is what
That's
they want.
the fun part. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't.
It's like some of my fans have planned their custom for 6 months to a year.
Okay. Like it sounds like they might have this kind of, Kubrickian or Spielbergian type of, all right, well,
and
we're
they'll
going to do
send
this
a
kind of framing.
6-page script, and I love that.
Okay.
I love creativity.
Nice.
Yeah, I accept that, and I also accept like a one sentence, like just get me off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you get things that are simply like, oh, can you be like a naughty teacher? Can you be, the boss or the secretary, stuff like that are very simple. And you do you get to will you have ones where you'll just kind of improv the whole thing?
Yeah, I call it like small, medium, large.
Okay.
Yeah, that's kind of how I base it. So like a small custom would just literally be like a couple sentences of what they were looking for, and I film it within like a really short time frame. Like medium order customs are kind of just you can choose a costume and a role play, and I'll bring that to life. And then a large production is like you're planning this, you're investing in it. We're like, yeah.
Okay. So how, if you can off the top of your head, if there's any that really kind of stood out to you as some of the more interesting ones that you've done?
It's so hard to choose. Like obviously the cosplay ones, like Jessica Rabbit, I kind of embodied her, and I got to wear a wig. And then, I mean, like my taboo role plays are pretty hot and steamy. So, on location stuff of like, turning into a robot, coming into life, going into the factory, getting reset, and then you're programmed, right?
Yeah.
So like there's different locations to it. Yeah.
Okay. Didn't you do one where it was like it was almost like a double role where you were, I don't know if it was playing.
That was my own. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that one was really exciting.
You were playing what, like sisters?
Yeah,
or
I've done so I've done the twinning effect like 3 times because I enjoy it so much.
Okay.
Such a challenge for me, like to put that all together. So all of those ones that you're referring to are my own creations.
Okay. And so what was it about that kind of a scenario that attracted you to want to do it?
I get into the taboo role play. I like it. And then just like I love a challenge.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, to like take that on and shoot, there's so many things to focus on, like getting the 2 shots. Like the one shot is actually 2 shots. Obviously, I'm playing the same person. And there's like the timing of it if I'm talking to myself back and forth. So it takes a long time to shoot something like that.
Did you watch, because there's movies like Hollywood films
that have
done
that's where I get my ideas.
I was going to say, did you try to watch some of those films? Like the one that comes to mind, even though it's old, is The Parent Trap, the original one. I mean, I'm sure there's the new one could be with Lindsay Lohan too, but or there was another one, I don't know if you ever saw it, Multiplicity with Michael Keaton. It was a 90s film where he played 4 versions of himself.
I got to watch that. I got to put that on my watch list.
I was going to say, yeah. So he plays a guy who's overworked who ends up cloning himself to try to ease the workload of his life.
It sounds like something I've like been dreaming. I want to do that to myself. I wish I could clone me a little work bot.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And then just be behind the scenes.
Yeah.
But yeah, that sounds, you're going to have to tell me the title after, so I'll put that on my watch list.
So those are some of your favorite ones that you've done then?
Yeah, there's so many to kind of choose from, but like the larger productions, And like even just diva or katana tend to be really big ones for me that stick out just because the cosplay was so intense. Yeah. And then like just fun ones. The being a cloned fire. I tend to like cloning, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah. Clearly my fetish is coming out. But yeah, there's someone that loves to see me strip over and over and over again.
Okay.
So we came up with the idea like stripper clone. So I'd be cloned 5 times. And like it's a great one for me because it touches on my background and like gets me to get back up on that stage and perform. So yeah, that was a fun one.
Okay.
Stripper clone.
Nice. Now, do you have any scene ideas in your head that you have yet to do that you want to do?
Yes. So I have a hot scenario of like my son's friend becomes a gym trainer. And in my gym, I would film where I'm like, okay, I'll support, it's my son's best friend. And so I start training with him, but he has these high-tech goggles. So he places them on, but the goggles actually can like undress me and stuff. So as I'm working out, he's watching me nude.
Okay.
So that's hot. And then I kind of catch him. And then I put the goggles on and like, I see he's got a big hard dick. And then,
And and the camera would be the POV of him watching? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll go back and forth, kind of like that's how the story would build. And that would make it the large production. Because like within that, my whole creative thought process goes to like effects. So when the goggles go on, kind of like this is like sci-fi, kind of brings you into that cloning, gives you that look. And then make it as high tech as possible.
And how and for these bigger productions, how many how much prep work and how much when all is said and done from when you start it to when you finish it usually take?
About a week.
Okay.
Yeah. So like something like that, I would take 2 days for shooting time. Like I would take the day before to like prep all like wardrobe and stuff like that. And then editing's the bigger hunk of things. So probably like 3-4 days on like an edit because that's where it all comes together. Sometimes I'm in like the heat of the moment and I'm so picky filming things. I'm like, this is turning out not the way I wanted it. And then once it gets into editing, everything works out.
Okay. Nice. Yeah. So, and one thing that you mentioned or that was mentioned is that you have this kind of fake slut persona is what it's called?
Yeah, I got slut on my little finger here.
Nice.
I don't know. I just like, if I could, say we could go into like virtual reality or whatever, I would fuck so many people.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would just take it to the next level. Like the girl, I'm so bad with names. Anyway, she's going really viral right now for doing like 1,000.
There was the Bonnie Blue and I think Lily Phillips.
Oh, so 2 girls.
Sorry,
doing
I know those names, but it's all over social media. That's why.
Yeah. I shout out to them.
Yeah.
If I could live through them, I would. But yeah, I just like it's almost like a cosplay thing for me. I don't know. I'll probably get razzed for saying that. It's probably unpopular opinion, but in my head, I just like to live like in a little fantasy land. Yeah, I can take.
So it's not something so it's a way that it's almost a different persona that you're able to kind of live these fantasies through.
I think I'm finally like talking about my sex life and like how I am in real life. And in interviews, I would never really do that. So I can actually say, because, when you try to live your persona so hard, it becomes not like people will be like, you're obviously playing a character and stuff like that. So I might as well just be honest about it. Like, I don't have a sex life. But for me, like, online stuff is a sex life. So I don't know if I need to see the psychologist.
Well, no. And we're going to get into that a little more in terms of the virtual intimacy.
Yeah. So, let's just pretend you could put those virtual reality goggles on, which I really hope that'll happen soon. But I'd be like, my little character would be out there sucking dick and fucking dick and
doing all that stuff.
Yeah, like lining up 100 guys, sure, everything, trying out everything. Yeah.
So, and I also saw that you are in the midst of creating a sex doll.
Oh, she's created.
Oh, okay, so she's done.
Yeah, she's hit the market. That was like a deal made a long time ago between me and the company. I would say like 5 years ago.
Okay.
5-6 years ago.
Okay. And did they approach you or did
I approached them.
Okay.
Yeah. So there wasn't really like a cut and dry like deal. But like she's brought to the market. Yeah, I have one. I filmed with her.
Okay.
Yeah. She's great. She's amazing. And yeah.
So what, like, how did you get it in your head, I want to make a sex doll of myself?
Yeah, I don't know. That was just like a milestone I was always hoping to achieve. I don't know. It was something like boss level.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I will say I don't think I've had anybody else on the show yet that has a sex doll version of themselves.
It's so exciting.
And I'm not talking just about like a fleshlight, because there's a lot of fleshlights out there, but the full experience, like up to the face and
right.
So what was the process like to do that?
Yeah, it was a long process because of my frame, and they wanted to do it very bodily
Anatomically correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. So she was too heavy to come to life.
Okay.
So they innovated a lightweight core that took about 3 to 4 years so they could stack her body. But what happened was the boobs kept growing. So like the doll kept having to be adjusted.
Outdated.
Yeah.
Okay.
So by the time she was like being created, we had to up her cup size a whole cup size again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so unfortunately I will outgrow her, but at least she was made.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, then the dolls have a vintage. Then it's the Kova doll vintage 2023.
I mean, could you imagine if there was a little score, Korina, so petite and cute?
You're like, you've got your different. Oh, that's a great year of Korina.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
So did you have to like do a cast of your body, or how is it that, or did you have to do like scans?
No scans. Yeah, like videos, pictures, scans. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And when they were, so how long did it take for them to did they do a prototype first?
Yeah, so there was a prototype a long time ago, and then they realized she was going to be too heavy for anyone to really utilize. Yeah. Okay. And like me having my doll now, because I have her at home, it takes me 2 people to move her.
Really?
Yeah, so she's very hard to film with, but she's so much fun. Oh my gosh. Like I play with her all the time.
Have you done a lot of content? Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. And obviously your fans enjoy that?
Yeah, it gives them, like I recently did, so I will commit to giving my fans almost the real thing. Mm-hmm. So I hire somebody that wears a strap-on. Okay. And they've been in my scene back before. I've done like a double dick maniac scene. Mm-hmm. And then also so recently with the doll. So this, the stepson finds the doll and then has fun with his stepmom and the replica doll. Okay. And then the sequel was just filmed recently as well.
Nice.
Yeah, so.
All right.
Quite a bit of content.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So let's move on to the fact that, because you mentioned it a little earlier, but the idea of virtual intimacy, which is something that I found really interesting reading about in terms of, so you have not been physical with somebody in how long?
In about 5 years.
5 years.
Yeah, a little over. I mean.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's something that, did you like was that something that just kind of happened, or did you kind of plan for that to happen?
No, I never planned for it to happen. I think I just got not like traumatized or scarred. I never had abusive relationships. Mm-hmm. But what always kept being the pattern is that somebody would want to be with me and say they loved me and that this line of work was okay in the beginning. Mm-hmm. And then when it comes down to it, they want me to sacrifice everything I've built to give it all up and do what?
Yeah. Just be with
I'm
them.
not fulfilled that way. If you want to be with me, you want me to feel fulfilled. So it's a hard balance to find. I think it's unrealistic for me to be with somebody right now until I might be done with things. I'm not saying the right person isn't out there, but I'm pretty shut off that way because I've had so many experiences where it's like the tables just turn all of a sudden one day and now all of a sudden your line of work is not okay. And then they want me to make a choice. Yeah. Like how can you,
I'm wondering, what if you had this kind of a scenario where somebody did that, they started dating, you started being with them And it did turn into a problem with them. But they said, you know what? I know this means a lot to you.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't work for me. And I'm sorry. Would that be something a little more respectful in your mind? Like
they leave me?
Well, just like they're not asking you to stop doing what you're doing. It just doesn't work for them anymore. Like, would that also?
I mean, but then what was the point of me investing my time and energy into somebody? Like, I'm very, I like to save my energy.
Sure. Yeah. Especially.
And like, I don't know. I just am not looking. So it's hard to find. Like, I think I need to get back out there at some point. Mm-hmm. Like, honestly, everyone's like, you're going to miss your prime and da-da-da-da-da. And it's like, well, I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, it's an interesting dating world now, I think, compared to, to what it, probably used to be. I mean, where between apps and social media and all these other alternative ways that have basically kind of taken over traditional ways of meeting people. So, because for instance, you work essentially by yourself.
Yeah.
So you don't have coworkers, you don't have other people that you interact with on enough of a basis to like create a connection that say other people have in the past where you've worked with them and then you start to, maybe you have a crush on somebody and then you go out with them and stuff like that. But you said though that the way you live now is very fulfilling for you.
Yeah. I think that's where it's like when I first, because I just recently kind of been starting about my dating life and my sex life. People were super hard on it. Like social media was like not okay with it. They're like, she's psychologically messed up and she's got so much trauma. It's honestly not a trauma thing. It's a choice. I have phobias. Like I think the whole like industry scares me because the STIs and stuff like that. It scares me. It's a risk you're taking and stuff. I'm not willing to do that. I have like a fear. I think my dad created that in me because when he first told me about sex, he was like, if you have sex, you will get an STD. And I fainted. Okay. And we were in like A&W. Yeah. And I get up from the table thinking, well, my dad doesn't know, but I've already had sex. And I'm thinking, great, now I've got some, so I fainted and all this ordeal.
Oh, wow.
I think I created a phobia there.
Okay.
So that is one thing that keeps me away from the industry of fear, but also in real life too. Like I need somebody to go get tested. I need things to feel safe and happy. And I just don't trust the world we're living in right now. Like, how can you trust somebody?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trust is probably one of the most fragile things you can actually have.
Yeah.
Because once you break it, I don't know, sometimes it's impossible to get back.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, but was it, when did you start to realize like, hey, I haven't been with somebody in a long time?
I know, I lost track of time. Like when I say time, so, maybe that's part of the struggle too, is I don't realize how much time's actually passed. And then I'm insecure because I'm like, can I even get back out there? Do I know what to do? Do you know what I mean? So it's like, and I don't know where to start now. So I just feel like so much time has passed. I'm rusty. Like, how would I go out there and I don't know. I don't even know where to start.
Well, and I think there's an element of, for instance, doing what you do. Obviously, there's probably hesitation when someone were to ask if they didn't know who you were already.
Yeah, and I wouldn't want them to know who I was already.
So in that sense, you're already kind of hoping that you meet somebody, but then eventually, because you don't want to lie, they're gonna find out, and then you have to hope that they're gonna react in a positive way.
It's the whole build up too. It's like, when's the right time to tell somebody? Like, there's so much stigma and judgment. I don't feel understood. I don't feel heard. It's a whole big bag of stuff to bring to the table. Like, bring to the table. It's a really heavy load.
Yeah. I mean, granted, you're not unused to that though.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's just like, I think I'm just scared to date now.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, it can be daunting. Imagine people that say are in long-term relationships and then they're out of them and it's like they were together for
how I feel.
15, 20 plus years. Yeah. And it's like, how do you start over again? So, so what is it about, say, the virtual intimacy then that you find so fulfilling?
Gosh, nowadays, like, I'm not even into virtual reality.
Okay.
But I get so into it that I feel an intimacy connection.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
With the fans that you're interacting with.
Yeah.
So is it like they give you the
intimacy,
the validation, the I want to say the.
And I know people like sitting at home are going to judge me for that, and they really don't like hearing that. They think our world has gone crazy, but I think there's crazier.
Yeah. Well, and there are different types of ways of living one's life.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously, I mean, there are people out there that, for instance, have open relationships, and polyamorous relationships, and those are not traditional style.
Or relationships with their car. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's not a physical connection.
No.
But I have such a good imagination that sometimes I do feel real, true intimacy.
Yeah. Well, and that's good.
It's a personality flaw.
Well, I think that because, if you're able to still get that somehow, that's good. I mean, because obviously we're not meant to be, I think, alone completely.
Yeah. I don't feel alone.
Yeah. And that's
I
good.
don't feel lonely at all. And that's part of the problem. Like, I think if I did feel lonely, obviously I would be motivated to get back out there. Mm-hmm. But I feel really good and fulfilled and happy.
And that's
not
great.
happy all the time. Like, I'm not trying to fool anyone. Like, I have struggles, but I don't feel lonely, and that's the main part.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, and I'm curious, do you have fans that try to offer like, hey, I'll be your boyfriend, or and they're
all
not
my virtual boyfriends.
Well, I'm just saying, but I'm sure that there's some that would want to go beyond that boundary.
Yeah.
But then again, that's why you have your secret hideaway. Mm-hmm. And
the Bat Cave.
Yes, the boob cave.
Yeah.
So
I like that.
Well, have you seen there's a meme that shows like the Tim Burton Batman logo it's just boobs.
Oh my gosh.
So
yeah.
I
like that.
Yeah. But I'm is there anything that you miss about a traditional in-person relationship? When you every now and then, maybe not something you're pining for, but just like something you're like, oh, it'd be nice to actually maybe actually be cuddling with somebody physically or what?
Ooh.
Or if there's not.
I'm not a cuddler.
Okay.
Yeah. Ooh, no, I don't like cuddling.
Really?
Yeah, I
Interesting.
don't. I love sex. I love physical touch when I'm turned on, but yeah, I
not a cuddler.
No.
What about it? I'm just curious. What is it that you don't like?
I don't know. I just don't like No, I don't know.
Is it like it's too constricting, or
maybe
you feel like
I don't want to be the big spoon. Definitely not.
Well,
but
yeah, no.
Even if I'm the little spoon, I don't know. I don't.
Okay.
Not a need. What do I miss?
If anything, I don't. You might not.
Lately, I've been warming up my dildo, so I don't even miss the body temperature of a dick.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. How do you warm them up?
With a warm towel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, because when you talk to fans or have that interaction, I don't know, would it be the same way as, say, if you had a romantic partner that you were with in person, you would be talking about the same kind of things? Mm-hmm. Or do you, are you, because, is there a line that there's always kind of between, a model and a fan that you think can't really ever be,
Of course.
you can't really cross that line.
Yeah.
Whereas with a real partner, you can talk about stuff that you probably wouldn't talk about.
Yeah, definitely. I think I just forget.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I think maybe just but I have a lot of friends too, so
that helps too.
Yeah,
people who know the real you, who
I'm close with my family. I'm close with my friends, and when it comes to a relationship, I think I miss showering with somebody.
Okay.
Yeah, I need someone to wash my back.
Yeah, that would help.
Yeah. Body scrub would be nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so the idea, so you haven't completely put off the table of ever being with somebody again?
No, of course not. I'm not unrealistic. I'm not going to be alone forever. Mm-hmm. It's just for now because I don't want to go through the whole fakeness of someone saying they're okay with something. And then I don't know if I could date somebody in the industry as well.
Really?
So there's, that.
What is it about dating in the industry that doesn't appeal to you?
I don't have any experience with it. It's kind of the unknown that's just would I be able to handle like a mirrored version in a relationship.
Mm-hmm. Well, it could be
Knowing
somebody
the
who's
ins
not
and
like
outs.
who's a behind the scenes kind
True.
of person.
Yeah, I've
who
never
doesn't
thought of
perform.
that. Yeah, for sure.
So who's aware of it, who knows how the
Yeah.
industry works, but
You know, maybe that's a possibility.
just saying.
Yeah.
You know.
It's a possibility.
So, but again, I'm glad that you do get fulfillment,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't suffer from loneliness.
Yeah.
So, and you know, again, some people are gonna think negatively of it. But
I
there's
think
always gonna
so, and that's okay. Like, you know, we could debate about it, and I honestly, I'm not trying to stand my ground and say I'm right. I'm just doing what feels right for me.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
what works for you, you know, you're not saying, oh,
I don't want to
live.
encourage other people to live my lifestyle.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't feel like I'm doing anything wrong. I'm definitely not hurting anyone. So
do you have any pets?
yes,
you
of
do?
course.
Okay, I'm just saying. So there's
Yes.
that. What do you have pet wise?
Yeah, so I have 2 cats and a dog.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. They keep me very busy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. Are the cats like pretty affectionate, or are they more like standoffish?
Well, my dog's a rescue from Mexico, and he's very aggressive.
Okay.
Yeah, so I do have to separate them. So like within my house, I have a separate studio. So the cats live in the studio. There's 2 of them. So and I'm always in the studio. I basically spend 50% time in the studio, 50% time in the house. So my dog lives in the house, and I have to kind of live a double life with them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well.
So I split my time, and then it's, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, all right. So how about we get into I'll call it I want to say the part everybody's probably been waiting for, which are the massive boobs.
Yes.
So, so you have Gigantomastia. Is that the like official term? Because I've also heard macromastia as another. Is it the same or are those different?
So in Canada, it's been a long road to even kind of put that on the table. And it's not like officially diagnosed.
Okay.
But my doctor is like aware, and we have documented the growing part. So it's kind of like, I don't know if it's there needs to be more research on it. And this year I definitely do want to, come to the US and pursue scans and documentation of everything now.
Okay.
But it's kind of just proof is in the pudding kind of situation where you can watch. I'm lucky enough that I film and video all the time, so I can go back to different stages, like, my earlier stages and throughout dancing, and then like going even back into like high school, right? And going to up until now, even though I have done a breast augmentation.
Oh, you have?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Oh, really?
No, I thought they were just not like all
Oh,
that.
yeah. So 5 years ago, I did right after the AVN that I attempted to come to. I only made it to one day. I flew right to Miami and had my breast augmentation that my fans funded.
Okay.
So yeah, we put like a small implant in there. They were great. Like they were the perfect size for me.
Okay.
Like I was like locked in. I like was so happy with the outcome, and then just keeps growing, just keeps growing.
So are the implants still in there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But now the boob is just growing around the implant.
I always had enough breast tissue. Like we didn't go behind the muscle, and that's why they still look so natural.
I was going to say, yeah, they look super natural.
Yeah. So, like that was important to me when I was doing the augmentation. I said, I want to keep the shape. I want to keep the shake. Those were wish list items, and he did a great job. He didn't go behind the muscle. There was enough breast tissue to hide the small implant. And, but yeah, so with Gigantomastia, the breast tissue just keeps multiplying, growing. So like now I have so much side boob, but nothing can contain them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm luckily your top's been able to work.
I chose something sturdy today because I didn't want to keep
adjusting, because I've had
in.
other guests where they'll keep wanting to escape.
Yeah.
So
little shake, they would escape.
Yeah.
But.
So at what point? Because when did they? So naturally, what were you before?
Yeah, I've always. So the thing is like back in elementary school, my teacher like had to pull me aside, and I had to be the first one to wear a bra. Like the breast tissue started growing very young. And then in high school, it's hard to say because I would like tape them down because girls were bullying me about my chest. So I wasn't comfortable in my body. So I go from high school hiding them. Then I jump into a phase out of high school serving, being quite proud of them because they started making me money.
Yeah, the tips.
Yeah. And then I jumped into dancing where that was an asset and I just totally embraced it. And then I jumped into online work and I got boob greed. So then I booked the augmentation. But in all of that time, because like fluctuation of weight and I never really noticed that they kept growing. I just always kind of just upgraded the bra, just kind of, and like when I've shopped at kind of the same bra store like for a long, long time.
Yeah.
So when I like started there, they were still like an F cup.
Okay.
So it depends, European sizing or like American sizing. But when I was fitted for my first real like big girl bra, because other than that, I was just like hiding them all the time. It was an F cup.
Okay.
And then throughout dancing, like I was always getting custom bras made. So I was never really paying attention to bra size. And yeah, so now I really pay attention to my bra size. And I just like right before coming on this trip received my first K cup.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Well,
So
congratulations.
yes, thank you.
For Korina Kova, your Ks.
Yeah. So now we're just waiting for the double K cup because then it'd be KK. Yeah. And I feel like I wish I could I would have halted things after the breast augmentation. That's what you think when you're booking surgery is like, that's what your outcome's going to be. I never thought that they would keep growing out of control. And it depends on my stress levels. So when I'm really stressed, they tend to grow faster.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So don't stress me out.
I was gonna
Travel stresses me out.
If there's any consequence to stress, I feel like boobs growing faster.
Yeah. I just, these are things I'm newly noticing because now I'm documenting it well.
Okay.
Now I'm taking measurements. Now I'm looking at cup sizes because like I was going to the doctors and I was getting like ultrasounds. I was thinking something was like seriously wrong. When they grow, they also become very tender. So almost painful.
Okay. So at what point did you start to know, like when did you realize like these keep growing? Like what was like?
I'm still in shock.
Like, yeah, but was there a moment where you're like, okay, this isn't, was it just after so many different bras growing and then finally did you like talk to somebody like a doctor about it?
Yes.
Okay.
So I started seeing a doctor when they were like super kind of tender. And I was like, okay, something's wrong. Maybe I have to take the implants out. Maybe I have to do this. So I started doing ultrasounds and physicals and documenting that probably 3 years ago.
Okay.
So like I had a health scare with my eyes. I don't know if you've known that.
I think I don't want to
talk about it today.
Yeah, no.
But
fine.
That's kind of the point when I realized, okay, because nothing was fitting anymore. I just chalked it up to be like weight gain because my body does fluctuate a lot. So once I got over the depression and recovered health-wise from my eyes, I started getting back into the gym.
Okay.
And so once I started working out and losing weight, but my bras kept going up, I was like, there's a problem.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's when I noticed is when I started to get back into fitness, that usually if you lose weight,
the boobs get smaller.
Yes. So the proof is in the pudding.
So would you say that right now you have an idea of the rate of growth that they have?
No, it's so like up and down.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. So I just went through like a growth spurt. Probably, I don't know if it's over yet, but like, so went from the double H cup.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, I'm still in shock. So once I just got fitted, like the side boob was out of control. I feel like they grow more to like out.
Okay.
I don't know. But they're definitely affecting my back and stuff like that.
Okay.
Play the violin now. Get the sad music going.
Yeah.
It's affecting me for sure. So I feel like I'll have to address it with surgery.
Eventually?
Eventually.
So like a small reduction or a big reduction?
Yeah. Like I'm so scared of those scars. It's a big one.
Well, and also I know that I don't know if the internal bra is something that you've looked into, or if that's a possibility,
I think
if that would
I have
help.
to start looking into something.
Because I know that might help with support.
Yeah.
So, but as they've grown, it hasn't affected the implants in there. Like the implants haven't.
I don't know.
been-
They're just lost. Like they're just.
you can't find them anymore.
No, I can't feel them.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
How big were the implants when you got them? Like were they, if you remember?
I don't know. There's a little paper I have at home.
Okay.
Like I'd say, I think I put it in a video one time. I'd have to look.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
but I guess if they're not at risk of like, rupturing or anything.
Yeah. The cool part is like I have footage because I was doing my fans funded the breast augmentation, right? So I was doing a boob vlog.
Okay.
So I was like, how I feel before surgery. Look at this, little titties. Well, they weren't little, but titties now. And then boom, they're done. And like, I just made like a whole Gigantomastia video because I'm like collecting this footage now and doing side-by-sides and comparisons and stuff like that. I just wish I took better measurements.
Okay.
Yeah, because now I can document it, and this goes in towards like research for science.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing.
Yeah.
So it's not just, you're not just documenting it for your own personal sake. You're doing this
I'd
from
like to get more.
from a medical standpoint.
Yeah, exactly. I'd like doctors to be more aware of it.
Yeah. Well, and do you think, because there are other women that have it, so
Yeah.
why do you think that there's a reason why it's not as
know why.
prevalently, studied?
I don't know, but in Canada, it's really hard to get them to take you seriously. It's kind of like being in porn. Like no one takes you seriously. You're
Or if
just
you have
like
a sex addiction, like that, or a porn, it's like, is that really an addiction?
And they're like, what's it going to do to you? Like, what are the other complications other than back pain or tenderness? Like, it's not a health risk. So it's like to get that diagnosis on paper, I'm going to push for it this year.
Okay.
Whether I have to travel abroad to do more scans. But I mean,
Well, I'd like to think there's some doctors, whether they're in the United States, whether they're in Europe, that would be interested, like genuinely interested to work with you.
get me a scientist.
Yes.
Yeah.
And somebody to because again, it's a real physiological condition.
Yeah.
That
And how far is this going to go? Like, what am I going to be able to walk in,
at what
in
point,
5 years if I didn't address it with surgery? Like, at what point am I going to tip over?
Yeah. Well, and are you also are you thinking that at one point you're going to need a lift?
Of course.
Because they're just, how much do they weigh?
7 pounds each.
Okay.
That was 2 years ago when I weighed them.
Okay.
So probably
a little heavier now.
8.
Yeah.
Maybe not a pound, but I
Don't
don't
you
know.
use kilos
Kilos?
or kilograms? Because you're on metric.
No, we use pounds
You
in
still
Canada.
use pounds? Okay.
Oh, am I behind the times?
No. I was just wondering because there's all this, there's all these jokes at the U.S.'s expense. Oh, you're still on customary units and everybody else is on metric.
Oh, that's why. Because when I mentioned the weather, because there's like a difference between Canadian talk and U.S., right?
Well, there's Celsius
The
and
lingo.
Fahrenheit. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but I want to say at the base, do you like having huge boobs?
Okay, so I struggled with it. Like I took it down now, but when I first came out of the doctor, when like she finally recognized there's a lot of rapid boob growth, I like made this social media post and like, cause everything was tight, like bras were tight, shirts were tight, jackets now were tight. Like I was crying. I was
Really?
dramatic. Yeah.
Okay.
Traumatic. Not traumatic. Okay, I won't go with traumatic.
Okay.
I was feeling dramatic, and no one would take into account that it's a blessing, but it's also a curse.
Yeah, like a lot of things.
I have to kind of look long term here and think like, at what point is this gonna? I mean, I haven't been able to run in 9 years.
Really?
Yeah.
So not even like a jog?
I'll do it for the fans.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, but not like.
But it hurts.
Okay.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
So when you do like cardio, is it like bicycle?
Yeah. So I have like, water cardio. I have this thing called a Jacob's ladder. So it's more like a climb. And then walking is my go-to.
So, I mean, obviously, because your boobs are a great asset for your work.
Yes. So it's a blessing.
In that
Trust me.
sense, yeah.
I don't I'm not trying to start a GoFundMe or anything.
No.
But like when I'm out in public or when I'm on vacation or when I'm trying to just be normal and not Korina,
Yes.
it does affect me within like my family members have to be beside me, and then it's like they stick out. It's no blending in at this point, no hiding them. Like no amount of sweater or clothing can really hide the girls.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But like aside from the work though, are there things that you enjoy about them personally?
Oh, of course.
Okay.
I play with them like
all the time.
Yeah, I don't have to be on camera and my hands are like in my bra, taking my bra off, like squishing them, squish, fun, stress balls. But then
they are natural stress relievers.
Yeah.
So, well, that's good though, because, again, sometimes there's mixed emotions for having huge boobs.
Yeah. And they're like a huge source of my pleasure. So like within the play or masturbation I'm doing, like if I wasn't to touch my pussy, and I'm usually like a clitoris comer, I can just come straight from boob play.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And boobs, like, okay, let's go back to that question because now I remember what I miss about a relationship.
Okay.
Boob sucking.
Okay, there you go.
There we go.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah.
That
I can self-suck, but it's a little painful now and they're being like tender and stuff. But I miss boob sucking.
Is that something where your partner would know, like you would tell them what to do?
I haven't met a guy that didn't want to suck on my tits.
Well, I'm sure, but there's technique.
Yeah.
So, sometimes they'll be.
I think I'd take what I could get.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. At this point?
Yeah. At this point, I think like even an amateur could probably do it.
Have you thought about maybe in the future doing some like a boob suck content where it's actually somebody?
I'm open to that. Yeah. So like this year for me, career-wise, I would think that I might do something like that. Not with a male, but with a female maybe.
Okay.
Yeah. That could be in the future.
All right.
Yeah.
Something to look forward to.
Yeah.
For everybody.
Yeah.
So what would you say your favorite thing about having huge boobs would be?
The way they look and everything.
Okay.
Yeah, blessing curse kind of thing though, like I was saying. So the way they look and everything, tiny. But I hate the way I look so frumpy if I'm trying to like wear like
Cover
big
them.
sweater. So yeah, love, hate, relationship with clothes. I love to throw on a tight dress. I love micro bikinis. I love to squish them into anything. Yeah.
Are you going to be going to the AVN Awards?
Yeah. I've got my little.
Your dress?
Ooh, yeah, it's too tiny. It never fit in the first place. I have no business wearing it, but I will be wearing it.
Well, it's the one event that you can go to where I'm sure you will not be the only one in a super small outfit.
Yeah.
So are you nominated for Spectacular Boobs?
No, I just don't participate in award stuff.
Okay.
And I found that with my struggles and with like my energy levels, when I did participate in like awards and stuff, I was exhausted to the point of burnout afterwards. So I thought, I don't want to do that rat race anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
I respect them. I vote for people in them, but not for me. Not for me.
Nice.
Yeah.
And I read too that you're working on, I don't know if this is up to date or if out of date, but like some sort of breast tissue. So what is that?
Yeah.
Like, is it kind of similar to like to the doll or is it?
No.
Okay. What is it then?
It's actually not going to be sex toy related.
Okay.
It's more in like the comfort industry. Yeah, I can't release too many details right now because I'm just in like the patenting process and like early stages of developing something that I'll be really proud of.
Okay.
But yeah,
it is boob related.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, well, because I know that boobs are very comforting in terms of like resting on and.
I think there should be more studies on that. This is like like I should be a medical device, considered a medical device.
Well, again, boobs are stress relievers if you squeeze them enough.
Yeah.
And that's actually scientifically proven.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah,
I was hoping there'd be science.
Yeah, that I think it was in Germany that said that did it. I don't know how they did the study, but squeezing boobs makes maybe in the same way that, for instance, like cats can relieve stress, like just by sitting on you and purring, that there's just maybe a relaxing, calming effect. That
chemical in the brain.
Yeah, that squeezing boobs, maybe it's, whether it's releasing dopamine or something else.
I think it's like primal, or like it's embedded, and like it's such a it goes back to brain life, and I think that would probably be like a chemical reaction in the brain.
Yeah. Well, and also, resting on them is very comfortable. So like, falling asleep on them. I always thought about making like a boob pillow, like that, a pillow that's kind of modeled and feels like giant boobs. I don't know if that can be made, and if somebody did, I'm sure. But so do you like huge boobs on other women?
Oh, always.
Always?
Yeah. Like I said, like in high school, it became a point of hard feelings for me. But as soon as I started going to strip clubs and going out with my girlfriends, and out of that phase of life, that was always I admire breasts.
Did you have the largest ones in the club?
Yes.
All the time?
I have the largest ones in the room.
Almost all the time?
Almost all the time.
Now, get in a room with me and a few other people. There might be a challenge.
Yeah.
To the throne.
I love a challenge. Yeah.
So
I would love to.
Well, do you see my birthday pictures?
You've had a lot of my favorite girls on, yeah, for sure.
So, but yeah, and I was gonna say dancing, because I mean they weren't as big as they are now, but as big as did you find dancing with huge boobs to be, again, a challenge, or were they pretty, because you knew how to work with them?
Yeah, I always, I don't know. I don't think they were that big. They were always big, but I'd always worked with girls with bigger fake ones, but I always had the biggest natties.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you ever tried thinking about, kind of doing a retro, like dancing with how they are now? Or do you think they're just too big
I do.
now?
Yeah. So I have like a full blown stripper stage at home.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's included in a lot of my fans' fantasies. So I get to live that still.
Nice.
I'm just trying to get my pole tricks back because it's a lot of load now.
Yeah.
So I'm trying
the weight
to
distribution.
Exactly. So like all the tricks I used to do, even like 5-7 years ago, I can't anymore until I get that core strength back.
Okay.
Yeah. And I feel like it's just always, kind of working against gravity here.
Yeah. So, would you say that they've always been your most popular feature?
Yes, always. I feel like it was just.
I mean, you're amazing all up and down.
Oh,
so not just the boobs. You've got an incredibly stunning face.
Oh, thank you.
Everything. So, I mean, you're not just boobs.
Oh, that's a very nice compliment. I'm not used to. The funny thing is because when like I had all that eye stuff go on, I don't want to talk about it, but
no.
I had a switch of eye color even,
Wow.
and none of my fans noticed.
Really?
I literally went from green eyes to brown, and just another normal day.
Well, I was going to say, because I felt like with your complexion that you would have been more light-eyed, because like I have light eyes and I have light complexion. So I think that tends to go dark hair, light eyes tends to mean that you're sun averse, as we tend to be.
Yeah. And so, like I feel like I lead with my boobs. I don't know. It's kind of.
Well, that's not a problem. It's
I think that is my.
But there's a completeness to you.
Thank you. That's so sweet.
Which is something, which is why, it's I think it's great to be able to have, women like you on the show and be able to talk to you about that, because as boob obsessed as I am as a person, who the boobs are attached to me ultimately means more.
Oh, I love it. You're making me blush, but that's such a nice compliment. Yeah, because it's not that I rarely get complimented on other features, but it's dominated by that space.
Yeah.
So that's sweet of you.
Well, and boob guys are obviously hyper focused.
Yeah.
On that. But yeah, no, I mean, and I'm really happy that we were able to have the time.
I know.
And that I was able to get you before you're exhausted.
I know, because the exhaustion will hit me. I'm not used to the travel. I'm not used to the in-person energy exchange. So I think, this was a really good idea to get us in.
Yeah. Well, and I hope you had a good time.
I did, of course.
And I hope that you'd like to come back someday.
I would. Yeah, let's, hopefully in a couple years I'll be
back here again?
Yeah.
All right.
And I'll have something to show for it.
I'm sure
Another
you will.
2 cup sizes.
Well, again, Korina, I'm so happy that you were able to make it. And this has been an amazing experience. And to all of you out there in Huge Boob Land, we will see you next time. Bye.